The bitter December wind cut through the crowded Christmas market like a blade, but Amelia barely felt the cold as she stood frozen beside the glowing carousel. Her breath trembling in the air, moments ago she had been filled with a fragile sense of hope, believing just maybe that this Christmas blind date might be the turning point. Her lonely heart needed but now, hearing the man who was supposed to be her date whisper to the hostess that he wasn't staying, because she's not my type, shattered whatever courage she had carefully pieced together. The lights around her blurred as unexpected tears pricked her eyes, falling silently before she could stop them in a place full of families, lovers, and laughter. Amelia felt like the only person in the world. Standing in the middle of a crowded emptiness, she wrapped her arms around herself, trying to hold together the pieces of a heart that always seemed too breakable, on a night that always seemed too cheerful for someone like her. Glowing star if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the beauty of unexpected miracles. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Gentle Hearts. It truly helps these stories reach more souls who need a little light. Glowing star Amelia walked away from the bustling Christmas market, feeling the sting of rejection echoing inside her chest. With every step she took, she had tried so hard to show the world she was okay, to convince herself she wasn't always destined to be alone, but every disappointment left another quiet bruise deep within. She had spent most of her adult life trying to rebuild herself, after losing her parents too young and carrying the responsibilities of life too early. She poured her energy into teaching, her passion into her students, and her heart into anyone who needed someone to believe in them. But when it came to her own life, her own happiness, it always felt like she was standing outside a window, looking in on a life never meant for her, the blind date. Tonight had been her first attempt in years at opening up again, and being rejected so quickly, so cruelly, silenced whatever small spark of hope she had dared to light. Snowflakes began drifting softly from the silvery sky. As she sat down on a bench near the frozen fountain, watching her breath rise like little ghosts of wishes she once made, she pulled her coat tighter, not against the cold, but to comfort the ache inside her. Around her, the world felt like a movie she wasn't cast in. Couples taking pictures, a father lifting his daughter to see the lights better, strangers laughing with warm drinks. She wondered what it would feel like to be chosen, to be someone's favorite person, to come home to a place where someone waited with warmth instead of silence. She wanted to believe that life still held surprises for her, but loneliness had a way of whispering its lies too convincingly. Just as she was about to stand up and leave, thinking maybe home and its quiet walls were all she deserved tonight, she felt a gentle tug on her coat sleeve. She blinked, surprised, and turned to find two little girls standing in front of her, bundled in matching red winter jackets, their cheeks rosy from the cold, and their eyes shining with curiosity, and something she hadn't seen directed at her in a long-time trust. They looked about 6 years old, with the kind of innocence you only find in children, who believe in magic without needing proof. They stood close together, their small gloved hands touching as if they were stronger together. Amelia looked around, instinctively searching for the adult they belonged to, but there was no one immediately nearby. Before she could say anything, one of the girls stepped closer, her voice trembling in a shy yet determined way. She asked a question that would alter the course of Amelia's life forever, a question so pure and unexpected that it silenced even the ache inside her heart. She asked if Amelia would be their mom. At first, Amelia could barely breathe. She thought she misheard, but the second girl nodded, repeating it with a sincerity that made something inside Amelia crack open, something that had long been locked away, something tender and forgotten. The world around her seemed to pause as the girls explained in their small, halting voices that they had seen her crying and believed she needed someone just as much as they did. They said their father was nearby, but that they didn't have a mother and had always dreamed of meeting someone who felt warm, someone who looked like they had love in their heart. Even when they felt sad, their innocence and honesty hit Amelia so deeply that her tears returned, but this time they were different. They were not from shame or loneliness, but from something beginning to bloom again. It was as if these two little souls had been sent to show her that she wasn't invisible, that she wasn't unlovable, that even in her weakest moment, someone saw her moments later. Their father arrived breathless and apologetic, explaining that the girls had wandered off. While he was paying for their hot chocolate, he was gentle, soft-spoken, and carried the quiet heaviness of someone who had also known loss. When he learned what the girls had said, he flushed with embarrassment, but Amelia saw something else, hope mixed with longing. The same longing she had tried to hide all night. The father, Daniel, explained that he had lost his wife shortly after the twins were born and had been raising them alone ever since. When he thanked Amelia for being kind to his daughters, she felt something inside her heart shift, as if the evening's pain was turning into something meaningful. The more they talked, the more Amelia realized how naturally she fit into the space between Daniel and his daughters, like she had been meant to meet them all along. Daniel was gentle, patient, and carried his grief with dignity, and the girls were bursting with life and warmth, filling the air with the kind of love only children can give freely. Amelia found herself laughing for the first time that night, truly laughing. As the girls held her hands and pulled her toward the carousel, she hadn't planned on spending Christmas Eve this way, but for once she didn't want to control the moment. She simply let herself be present, letting the girls' joy melt away, the bitterness left behind by her failed blind date. The night grew richer and deeper. As they wandered together through the Christmas market, sharing treats, watching performances, and talking about everything, from favorite colors to the meaning of kindness. Daniel walked beside Amelia quietly, yet she felt seen in a way she hadn't in years. When he finally gathered the courage to ask if she would like to join them for hot chocolate, she said yes without thinking. It felt natural, warm, almost like the universe was guiding her. They sat together in a small corner cafe, the warmth of the heaters glowing over their table, as the twins fell asleep against Amelia, trusting her completely, even though they had just met. Daniel watched them, with a softness in his eyes that made Amelia's heart flutter, with something she had not felt in a very long time. He told her that he had been trying to be both mother and father to his daughters, but always worried he wasn't enough. He said the girls were incredibly intuitive, and if they had chosen Amelia so quickly, it meant she had a soul they felt safe with. His words filled Amelia with a warmth she couldn't describe. For years, she had convinced herself she wasn't chosen, wasn't wanted, wasn't the type of person people looked at twice. But here in this tiny cafe, on a night that began with heartbreak, she felt more seen, more valued, and more connected than she had in a decade. As the days passed after that night, Daniel reached out again, and Amelia found herself drawn into a world she had never expected. But deeply needed, she spent time with the twins, reading them stories, helping with their school projects, and learning about the little quirks that made each of them unique. Daniel slowly let her into his life, showing her the parts of his heart he had kept guarded. Since losing his wife, their bond grew naturally through shared dinners, slow walks in the park, and quiet evenings where they simply enjoyed each other's company. Amelia had always believed love came in grand gestures from strangers, but she realized now that love sometimes comes quietly, slipping into everyday moments until you can't remember life before it. Months later, on another cold evening, Daniel invited her to the same Christmas market, recreating the night they first met. Only this time there was no rejection, no loneliness, no tears. There was only warmth, belonging, and a family that had chosen her wholeheartedly. When the twins tugged her sleeve again, just like the first time, they asked, not playfully, but sincerely, if she would be their mom now forever. This time, Daniel knelt beside them, holding a small ring box, his voice trembling as he asked her to be not just his wife, but the mother his daughters had always prayed for. Amelia cried openly, not from heartbreak, but from overwhelming gratitude that life had brought her the love she never thought she deserved. She said yes, whispering it through tears, as the carousel lights sparkled above them, like 1,000 tiny blessings. Years later, Amelia still looked back on that first Christmas night. As the moment her world shifted from loneliness to love, the twins grew up knowing that the world could be cruel sometimes, but it could also be incredibly beautiful if you learn to look for the good in people. Amelia built a home filled with warmth, laughter, second chances, and small miracles. She taught them that family isn't just made by blood, but by hearts willing to choose each other again and again. And every Christmas, without fail, they visited the same market and told the story of the night. Two little girls found a woman who needed love, just as much as they did heart. If this story touched your heart, please like,